Literature gives us the opportunity to experience lives, perspectives, and worlds different from our own. Though remember, friend, a good story has many readings, and this is but one. Okay, picture this. You just got a new job as an English solicitor, a kind of lawyer, and are on a sweet business trip abroad. Turns out some count in Transylvania wants to buy property in London, and he needs you to do the paperwork. But you're also newly engaged, so you're keeping a travelogue of your journey to eventually share with your bae. Because, Instagram's not a thing yet. Except everyone's acting a little off. Villagers cross themselves when you say where you're going, and a woman hangs a crucifix around your neck. Quaint rustic superstitions, I suppose. And when the Count's big sinister coachman comes to take you through the Borgo Pass, he doesn't really seem interested in conversation, because he's more vibing dismissing packs of wolves with a gesture or chasing blue ghost fires? Okay, charming local beliefs. But it's only when you meet Count Dracula in his crumbling medieval castle that you realize what this really is. The best travel journal ever! Still wish we could take selfies, though. Thanks so much to CuriosityStream for helping us raise the stakes of today's literary tale. So you haven't read Dracula. Well, Halloween's the perfect time to catch up, because despite Bram Stoker writing it in 1897, this one still slays today. But what's really cool is instead of it being told from one perspective, Dracula is what's called an epistolary, a story told through in-universe documents. In this case, pieced together from a series of diaries, letters, newspaper articles, and even recordings on wax cylinder phonograph. And it's written that way so that you, the reader, feel like you're investigating something that actually happened. Kinda like a 19th century version of a found footage horror film. So, for this episode, instead of putting you in the shoes of a character from the novel, let's cast you instead as an investigator as the novel intends. Ooh, looking good. Very 1800s true crime chic. You begin your investigation by reading the diary of solicitor Jonathan Harker, chronicling his trip to Castle Dracula. At first, the Count appears like a hospitable, if eccentric man, but soon things get strange. One day, as Harker's shaving and accidentally cuts himself, Dracula swoops in and leers at the blood with an almost animalistic hunger. It's this creepy occurrence that prompts Harker to start writing his journal in shorthand, to keep its contents secret. And soon he realizes he's a prisoner, not a guest. He sees this old dude crawling down walls like a creepy Spider-Man, and runs into 3 uncomfortably beautiful and terrifying brides who try to suck his blood until Dracula gives them a child for dinner. Which is right about the time Harker decides to nope on out of there real hard and dive off the castle wall into the river below. At that point, Harker is either too cold or, maybe dead to keep a journal, so continuing your investigation, you move on to reading a captain's log of a ship transporting boxes of Transylvanian dirt to England. As you do, but it seems as though an unknown animal is picking the crew off one by one, Predator style. Then, the log cuts off abruptly, replaced by a newspaper clipping about a ghost ship running aground in England. A large black dog is seen running from the wreck, and the sole remaining crew member is dead, tied to the ship's wheel. Next, you read a series of letters between Harker's fiancée Mina and her BFF Lucy. Mina is the picture of Victorian womanhood, while Lucy is more modern in love, courting the attentions of 3 men. Arthur Homewood, an aristocrat, John Seward, a psychiatrist who runs an asylum, and Quincy Morris, a man from the exotic, faraway land known as Texas. Ma'am. But she chooses Homewood, and she and Mina go to holiday on the coast, right where that ghost ship conveniently runs aground. Wait, really? Popular vacation destination, I suppose? Soon, the sleepwalking Lucy is wandering out at night, and Mina sees her with a sinister-looking man, but Mina doesn't have time for that, as she gets a letter saying Jonathan's in a hospital in Budapest and bails. Your next piece of evidence is the transcribed phonograph journal of Dr. John Seward, one of Lucy's also-ran suitors. Turns out, she's now sick after her vacay, and at a loss, Seward invites his old mentor, Abraham Van Helsing, over from Amsterdam for a second opinion. Now, about Van Helsing. He's, a little out there. He diagnoses blood loss and has all the suitors give Lucy transfusions for some reason that seems weird, all of them doing it. He also, though, puts garlic everywhere, which, again, seems a little odd. But that night, a wolf appears, terrifying Lucy's mother into cardiac arrest before Lucy wastes away. And that's when Van Helsing lets it drop, telling the 3 suitors that Lucy was killed by a vampire and now is one of the living dead. Heck, she's even risen from her tomb and snacked on a few street urchins. But the quartet ambush Lucy in the cemetery, chase her back to her coffin, and all 3 men who tried to marry Lucy take turns pounding a stake through her. Yeah. If you somehow missed the subtext with all of the transfusions and stakes and bloodlust and beautiful dead ladies, a lot of this book is about sex and gender. But we'll swing back to that. Anyway, Van Helsing and his crew join up with the now married Jonathan and Mina as a vampire hit squad headquartered in Seward's Asylum. Their plan is to find the boxes of Dracula's native earth he needs to sleep that have been hidden all around London and destroy them so he can't rest. Meanwhile, Mina stays in the asylum as their archivist, transcribing and organizing all of their clues, letters, and documents into the narrative you're reading now. You're telling me, bud. Wicked meta. But as they're sabotaging Dracula's boxes with communion wafers, the Big Daddy Vamp himself sneaks into the asylum, feeds on Mina, and has her drink his blood, so that when she dies, she'll become a vampire. Not to mention, in the meantime, he'll be able to see through her eyes as a spy, so that's kind of a win-win for him. But his dastardly plan backfires when Van Helsing uses hypnosis on Mina to exploit their psychic connection, which lets her track the Count, chasing him down in Romania via the most Victorian method ever, with an intricately planned railway schedule. They split up. Van Helsing and the almost vampire Mina head to Dracula's castle and kill the three brides. Meanwhile, the rest ambush Dracula's servants as they load his coffin into a wagon and destroy him, though Quincy dies in the fight, despite the Count having messed with Texas. But hey, in the epilogue, pretty much everyone left gets happily married, so good? Now, there's a lot of layers to Dracula. As we mentioned, much of it deals with repressed sexuality and gender norms. And Stoker, who some scholars suggest was a closeted gay man, and who may have been afflicted with syphilis, filled the novel with his anxieties about sex, contrasting attraction and revulsion, danger and desire, the gothic fear of damnation always lying heavy. For instance, we have Lucy, the liberated woman who courts three men, is tainted and must be destroyed, whereas Mina, the model of Victorian womanhood, is saved. But while Dracula is best remembered as Gothic fiction, I think what really helps make it such a fun read today is that it's also an early example of a techno-thriller. The hunters beat Dracula with the help of religion, sure, but also with cutting-edge technologies like gramophones, typewriters, Winchester rifles, shorthand, medical science, the telegraph, and again, I can't stress this enough, superior knowledge of train timetables. Not to mention the hunters aren't priests, rather modern professionals. 2 doctors, a lawyer, a man-about-town lord, a schoolmistress, and a cowboy. Even Dracula himself is medicalized, with vampirism being treated like a contagious blood disease, much like syphilis, the most feared Victorian STD. All of which to say is that Dracula still feels fresh today. I mean, it's closer to Jurassic Park than Wuthering Heights. And that's even without getting into all of the other novels, television shows, movies, and games this book has influenced since it first burst out of the coffin. Heck, even tonight, on the evening of this video's release, we're hosting a tabletop game of Vampire the Masquerade celebrating its 30th anniversary over on our Twitch channel, which is just another serendipitous example of old Drac still influencing content even to this day. So this Halloween, why not sink your teeth into one of the greatest horror novels ever written? Ah, come on. That joke didn't suck that bad, did it? Okay, I'm sorry. It was a mistake. Wait, put down the hammer. Put down the hammer! Put down the hammer! Okay, I think I lost my pun-hating murder cat behind a group of trick-or-treaters, which gives me just enough time to catch my breath, eat this piece of candy, and tell you about the best place to watch all our shows ad-free. Of course, I'm talking about Nebula, our by creators for creators streaming service that's home to a ton of our favorite educational entertainers on the internet, such as Mariana's Corner, 12-Tone, and Real Engineering. Plus, you get to see exclusive Nebula originals, including some of ours, and extended cuts from fellow creators like Low Spec Gamer, who absolutely knocked it out of the park with his video on the Game Boy Pocket's development. Man, what a wild ride it was getting that thing made just so I could play Castlevania on the go more easily. And because CuriosityStream loves supporting independent creators, when you sign up for their service, you'll get access to Nebula absolutely free. And that's on top of CuriosityStream's thousands of big-budget nonfiction videos and award-winning original series, curated across their gigantic learning platform. Since I've been on a Victorian literature kick lately, one doc I just finished is called Sherlock Holmes Against Conan Doyle, which takes a fascinating deep dive into the author's struggles to come to terms with the phenomenon that is Sherlock Holmes. You know what? I'll take being your sidekick over being staked any day. So how can you get access to all these sweet shows and still have enough money to stock up for trick-or-treaters? Well, just head on over to curiositystream.com/extra credits to get a subscription to both CuriosityStream and Nebula for 26% off the regular price. That's under $15 for both services for an entire year. Not only will you be elevating your content watching game to the next level, but you'll also be helping out us here at Extra Credits in the process. Thanks a million for being so awesome. A legendary thanks to Ahmed Ziad Turk, Joseph Blame, Alicia Bramble, Kyle Murgatroyd, Casey Muscha, O'Reels1, and Dominic Valenciana for all of their support.